There have been a lot of dark and messed up anime throughout the years. Made in Abyss, Monster, Grave of the Fireflies, just to name a few that have stirred up a good deal of controversy and convey an extremely dark theme that to many may be hard to watch. Anime has always had some shows and scenes that have pushed boundaries. That's no surprise. It seems like every season that comes out, there's an episode or two from a show that's in the spotlight, talked about a bit, then disappears once the waters have calmed down a bit. I remember the first episode of Goblin Slayer and Redo of Healer actually very vividly. Those two shows definitely caused quite a commotion. However, there's been one show this past summer season that has definitely stirred the pot and almost pushed boundaries for anime. You'd never guess a show about a cute little pink octopus and a middle schooler would be as heavy and dark as it is, but it is. In comes swinging Takopis Original Sin, a show about a pink octopus whose mission is to spread happiness across the universe. After crash landing on Earth, he stumbles upon an unhappy looking girl named Shizuka Kuze. She decides to name him Takopis, and Takopis is determined to get Shizuka to smile. Through various gadgets like the happy camera and happy string, it turns out getting this poor little girl to smile is a tougher task than Takopis was ready for. From horrible, and that's putting it very lightly, school bullies, to some of the worst parents I've ever seen in anime, Shizuka lives in a constant state of pain and despair. Her only shining light is her dog Choppy, the light of her life and quite literally the reason for her living. Choppy provides the small amount of relief from her unfortunate life. I don't really want to spoil anything too much, but let's just say something terrible happens in Shizuka's life, and she comes to realize that there is quite literally nothing worth living for anymore. Takopis stumbles across Shizuka, who's beaten, battered, and torn. Being a naive little space octopus, he does what he thinks will help put a smile on her face. Shizuka for once agrees to try the happy gadget, and then leaves. The following scene is the reason that this anime has not one, but two trigger warnings before you begin watching. Now, given that Takopis gave Shizuka the happy string, you can pretty much assume what happens without me saying anything. Takopis stumbles upon a scene that no being from Happy Planet has probably ever witnessed before in its entire history. And we know this by his reaction. Takopis can't really comprehend what has happened at first, because the little octopus has never been exposed to something so tragic before. Takopis in himself is a very fascinating character. An octopus from space that speaks Japanese and carries around a vast array of tools. Takopis is intoxicatingly happy, positive, a ray of sunshine and darkness, but also extremely naive and is severely lacking comprehension in certain areas. What I find fascinating about Takopis is, even though they don't understand certain things at first, eventually Takopis slowly begins to comprehend the gravity of certain situations. We see this multiple times throughout the show. Takopis is faced with a situation, decides to solve it their normal way, but upon not working, is forced to try new ideas and assess the situation in a completely different light. However, throughout all this trial and error, all of these brand new situations, Takopis still can't seem to 100% truly grasp the gravity of certain situations. And we can see this by the reactions. One minute, Takopis is trying to grasp the concept of death, and the very next, they're skipping away like nothing ever happened. This isn't to say Takopis is some raging psychopath. Have you seen the little guy? It just appears that the concept of anything besides happiness is so not ingrained into a Happian's DNA that it's almost impossible to fully understand the gravity of these situations. And in a lot of ways, Takopis not understanding what's going on makes these scenes a lot more intense. There is a massive feeling of foreboding when you watch this series. You, as the third party, know the consequences of these actions, but the little pink octopus from space, and the fourth graders who are too naive and young to truly grasp that too, have no idea. As I was watching, I wanted to yell at the screen to get them to stop before it was too late, but obviously that wasn't going to work. And our characters are forced to suffer whatever fate was written for them. Now, with the concept of fate brings us to the adults of this show. What the is going on? Who let these people reproduce? Every single adult in this series is the epitome of a failure, even the teacher. There is not a single positive adult influence in this entire series. Let's start with Shizuka's parents. This should be fun. Her mother is, to the viewer's knowledge, a prostitute who neglects Shizuka is never home and doesn't care in any way, shape, or form for her well-being. We know this because any mother in her right mind would see Shizuka's torn clothes, battered face, broken backpack, and deadpan demeanor and question what the hell is going on with my child. Not Shizuka's mother. No, 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 no. Shizuka's mother does none of this. She finds her to be an annoyance in any fashion, and in the short moments we do see the two interact, her mother is either tired or just irritated by her presence. Her father is just as bad, but at least the mom's in the picture. Papa fled to live with another woman and start a new family, 100% neglecting not only Shizuka, but his wife too. Now, we aren't sure what caused this, but I think I speak for everyone when I say this is not the way to go about things when you have a family. Even upon seeing Shizuka for the first time in God knows how long, he acts as though he has no idea who she is and sends a 4th grader right on her merry way, once again neglecting her for the final time. Through her parents, we're able to understand why Shizuka acts the way she does later in the show. This theme pretty much rings true for every other character as well. Now, from Marina-chan's parents, we see these parents the most, and again, they are abysmal. Her father is continuously cheating on the mother, which causes her to lash out and abuse her own daughter. Marina's father is still very much in the picture though, which probably makes things a bit worse. He doesn't really seem to be home much though, and Marina is left alone with her mother for a majority of the time, which is a terrible environment for a child. Marina's mom is constantly screaming, hitting, and berating her. She takes all of her frustrations out on Marina, who, mind you, has nothing to do with the reason her father is having an affair with her mother in the first place. Marina is the constant punching bag at home, and because of this, her anger is directed outwards to Shizuka. The loop of abuse is never broken, and it just gets pushed onto other people. Finally, we have Azuma's lovely mother. She showers him with praise, gifts, and those amazing pancakes she makes. But not Azuma, though. She does that to his brother. She manipulates the shit out of Azuma for no good reason. Azuma is a hard worker, seems to have a level head, and just wants to please people. He has the outstanding older brother who just wants to be like for once and get his mom's praise, but that never comes. Azuma's mother is constantly holding a carrot on a stick in front of him. Azuma can never be as good as his older brother, and mom makes damn sure he knows that. Because of his neglect at home, he looks for any sort of positive praise from anyone. He will do whatever he has to do to be on someone's good side, even if it means covering up a crime. Through all the parents, we come to understand just why these children act the way they do. It's not their fault that they were raised by deadbeats. It's just the very unfortunate life that they were brought into. Takopis Original Sin hits like a ton of bricks. I truly did not expect a show about a little octopus from space to cut so deep and have such a dramatic impact on my life. This show is so good, it got my non-anime watching friend to not only watch the show, but watch it twice, and I got us all plushies from Japan while I was over there. Takopis is such a good series and does an amazing job of showing that no matter how hard life gets, whatever cards you are drawn, there's at least a small light at the end of the tunnel. The ending to this anime showed us that in such a beautiful way. Our characters didn't get the fairy tale ending that they honestly deserved, but they did get an ending that I believe was good for them. Spoiler alert, throughout the show, Marina and Shizuka are feuding. They're sworn enemies, to the point that the police should have been involved actually months ago. But at the end, they come together to understand that whatever their parents are going through, whatever their parents put them through, doesn't define who they are. It doesn't mean that they have to be nasty to each other like they're horrible, horrible parents. It really is such a beautiful piece of media. I'm honestly grateful that I watched Takopis Original Sin. It's humbling. Takopis' positivity through the entire series is intoxicating. It made me want to be like him. This little pink octopus made me feel as though I had a voice, that I can do something to help, even if it's to just put a smile on someone's face. There are a ton of takeaways from the show, but my personal favorite is to continue forward. Life is really hard. Unfortunately, it's a lot harder for other people too, and we all wish we could change that. But it's important to not compare situations with others and do whatever we can to not only make ourselves smile, but others too. Takopis literally was one of the best shows that I have ever watched. Though it was dark, though it was trigger happy with warnings and very traumatic for, I'm sure, a lot of viewers, it teaches a lot of really important lessons. If you haven't watched Takopis Original Sin, I would strongly suggest doing so. Though it does have a lot of, like I said, traumatic things and trigger warnings, it's still an important series that I think a lot of people should watch because it does teach a lot of important lessons. Things are not always what they seem on the outside. Sometimes there's a lot of things going on right behind the curtain that we have no idea about. So it's important to have empathy, it's important to be sympathetic towards people, and do our best to understand other situations, even though we may not understand things on a surface level. I think you should watch Takopis Original Sin. I think it was one of the best shows to come out in 2025, and if you haven't watched it yet, go do yourself the favor and watch Takopis Original Sin. If you don't like the topics of the show, at least you're going to fall in love with Takopi, because he's a little cutie. Thank you everybody for watching this video. I appreciate it a lot. Put a lot of work into this one, and a lot of personal feelings towards this specific show and series. If you found anything interesting or informative, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that bell, share the video if you like Takopis Original Sin, and if you want to comment down below what you thought of the series, I would love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.
ありがとう。バイバイ。